you singing something that can be heard? It's like I can hear it. If it is.
I lose my beard in this shirt. Hey, guys, and otherwise, I'm Jonathan O. Roseline. This is Haley O. Roseline. I decided to give
Haley
a new
O.
middle name.
Roseline.
And we're doing a weird thing today. I'm going to turn down this theme music. Maybe put on some more appropriate music. We are going to be reading the Halo film script.
Oh, hey.
And either Josh or Krista in the chat say, "You're both people, I love you." I believe that coming from either of them. So what are we're reading this script. Let's show the script. That's the first page of the script right here.
It says Halo on it.
It says Halo.
But whatever could it mean?
So we're actually doing a pretty it's an additional video. It's one of those DLC videos for the main Art Cash video, and it's going into what Peter Jackson's Halo movie would have been. And we...
You're wrong. I'm sorry. It's Luna.
Oh, it's Luna the cat. That thing. Thank you, Luna. And so I discovered, while doing the research, a leaked copy of the script. Now, there is a small chance that this isn't
legit,
but it would be someone else sort of who went out of their way to, I even looked up other Alex Garland scripts, and it's written very similarly. So it's someone who went out of their way to copy Alex Garland's style of script writing, to just make up they didn't even make money from it. It wouldn't make sense. So I'm gonna either way, it's a Halo script. It's gonna be fun, but everything points towards this being for real. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time, and I'm excited. So to give some background to this, and I'll bring back the theme music a little bit just to have us talking over something. But to give some background to this, we in 2004 actually, Microsoft was just about to come out with Halo 2, and they brought on Alex Garland, who at that point had just done 28 Days Later, I think, but he did Sunshine. Wrote Sunshine. He wrote and directed Ex Machina, Annihilation. A lot of those just really upsetting sci-fi movies. It's his
upsetting
deal.
is right term for that.
And so I'm guessing we're gonna get a bit of that with the Halo script. He seems like an interesting choice for that. But yeah, it was Microsoft themselves brought him on for $1 million to write the script to Halo, and he consulted with Bungie, and they pretty much said, this is what what we want the movie to be. And Alex Garland said they already knew what the movie was. He just had to write that version of the movie as well as possible. And yes, I agree, adjective now in gaming, Alex Garland is super dope. Annihilation, I still have Skull Bear nightmares. That was the worst. But so he said, essentially I just had to write the movie they asked me to write specifically as best as he could, and he didn't have too much of a creative input on it beyond that, which seems like an easy $1 million. Seems like I want that job. You tell me what to write, and I write it down for you, and you hand me $1 million. Hollywood's it's just a good industry and a good system. But yeah, so this is, and then Peter Jackson came on in 2005, and Guillermo del Toro was on it for a little bit. We'll get into all this with the video. But Del Toro, when Del Toro was sort of in talks, D.B. Weiss, the co-showrunner on Game of Thrones, wrote a new draft based off of this script we're about to read, and then that's when Neil Blomkamp came on, and then there was all this nonsense with funding and with multiple studios and Microsoft being involved, that it all went to shit. And then they just made Neil Blomkamp and Peter Jackson just made District 9 instead. But this is the origin of it all. This is what they sent into Hollywood. They made the script and then they went to studios with a list of demands and this script, and they had people dressed up as Master Chief deliver this script to studio execs. And then they're like, you have this many hours to tell us how much you're going to pay us.
It didn't work out too well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't exist still. So, yeah, that's gonna be the thing, and I'm gonna bring it down a bit. So I'm going to be doing the narration and Master Chief, and Halo.
Oh.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
New name. Halo Rose Lion. It's perfect.
Oh yeah, because my middle name is O now.
Yeah. And so Halo over here is going to read the parts of everyone else in the script, all the other dialogue. You're going to be having a lot of conversations with yourself. I get the feeling it's going to be pretty Master Chief centric though. So, and pretty action centric. So I don't know how much you'll actually have to do, but we'll find out. And we're just going to read the first half today, or at least try to get through the first half. This is 127 pages. So it's going to be a meaty one.
Also, if you get, I mean, I can do some narration too if you'd like.
Also, that's the cat in the chat. The cat in the chat is my favorite Dr. Seuss book. But that's explaining why it's all caps.
No, it's Cat's Lock.
It's Cat's Lock. I get it. I don't get it. So we're gonna let's bring in some appropriate music here. Let me know hey cat in the chat. Let me know if this music ends up being too loud or too drained out or something.
Or too intense.
That's the point, baby.
I can't hear it, but I assume it's intense.
It's going, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who needs the music?
Oh. Yeah, I love it. Okay. And there's the electric guitar. And welcome to Halo by Alex Garland, February 6th, 2005, or June 2nd. I think he's British.
Oh, so it's probably that.
Who knows? But he is making it for an American corporation.
Either way.
We're going to page 1, which is page 2. A series of scorched snapshots, fragments as memory. This is Master Chief's dream. Open on a Spartan helmet and a reflection in its visor. In the reflection we see buildings. The design and architecture of the buildings tell us this is a distant future. And twin suns tell us this is not Earth.
Ooh.
That sounds a little derivative. The suns are low in the sky and bathing the landscape in blood red. Ooh. I'm gonna move this. I'm getting a little whistle from my S's. So snap back to show the full figure of the Spartan. 7 foot tall. He's technically 7'2". I'm not gonna do that in this whole thing. I promise I'm not gonna do the whole thing. 7 foot tall, clad head to toe in Mjolnir armor.
Mjolnir armor?
Yep. Holding an MA-5B assault rifle. Master Chief.
Chief.
Yeah.
Chief.
It's so cool with the music right now. You're really missing out.
Sure.
Snap back again to reveal behind Master Chief another 50 Spartan warriors. That's kind of a big deal, babe.
Okay. I'm sure it is.
I'm sure you'll see why. All the Spartans have their gaze directed at the skies, where a vast shadow or cloud is eclipsing the twin suns. A shadow which resolves itself into literally thousands of Covenant dropships. Cut to
I'm sure that means something.
a battlefield. Covenant are bad aliens.
Okay, if it's not clear, I have not played Halo. I mean, maybe a couple of times, like the PvP, but not the story.
Well, clearly, if you've watched Halo Tops, our recurring live stream, we've practically played through all of the campaigns of Halo at this point. Cut to a battlefield. The buildings are now destroyed. Skeletal steel frames push from rubble, providing only a suggestion of the structures that once stood. Across this wasteland, the Spartans and the Covenant are locked in ferocious combat. The Spartans are super warriors, combat machines, except that beneath their armor is genetically refined human flesh and blood. Despite their
What?
physical size, they are fast. As we watch them turn, aim, fire, the speed of their reactions is unnatural. They're like John Wick in cool suits.
Shit.
They seem fueled by nitrous oxide and amphetamines.
Okay, Alex.
And there is something hypnotic about the way they fight. Amidst the chaos, there are patterns. Across the battlefield, we can see precise movements echoed from Spartan to Spartan. The same motion in the way a weapon is raised, the leap and roll to avoid an explosion. I feel like people watching this movie would just be like, oh, they reused the models and animations on different ones. How crappy. The impression is of method within the madness. Of no holds barred combat. That's a sentence. The Spartan warrior training is embedded deep within them, almost coded. The Covenant provide a contrast. Among the various species that make up alien ranks, we see the tall and regal elites, the massive hunters, the gorilla-sized grunts, and the thin and feral jackals. Hold on, gorilla-sized grunts. That's interesting. Grunts are the little guys. The brutes are gorilla-sized. Interesting. Anyway. And they all fight with their own brand of specialized ultra-violence. Less controlled than their human enemy, they are zealots, rabid. They roar as they charge, plasma blazing from their weaponry. In close quarters, they tear and rip and claw. Many of the alien warriors are falling and dying, but they can afford it. In comparison to the Spartans, the Covenant are far, far greater in number. As we watch the scene unfold, something becomes clear. The tide of the battle is turning inexorably against the humans. Is that how I say that? Inexorably?
Yes. Cut 2.
Thank you. Master Chief maintaining a barrage of fire as the Spartans to the left and right of him are lacerated by plasma fire.
Cut 2.
Music sounds good. Fingers crossed we'll see grunt gorillas in Halo Infinite. Oh, if anyone hasn't seen the snapshot of the brute gorilla face, it's one of my favorite things from the new Halo Infinite footage. That, again, means nothing to you, Haley.
Nope.
A Spartan as a plasma grenade sticks to his chest. He doubles up to protect his brothers, then flies apart as the grenade explodes. I guess this is R-rated.
Cut 2.
Another Spartan walking, dazed, blackened, blood-smeared, half of his armor blown from his body, half his arm hanging useless at his side.
Cut 2.
A group of 3 Spartans driving a Warthog vehicle. One driving, one on shotgun, one on the rear cannon, as they break ranks to charge the enemy. They skid, roll, and die under a rain of fire.
That's not the canon he meant to be talking about.
Here and throughout, the combat feels real, hard, bloody, and brutal.
Cut 2.
The city burning.
Cut 2.
The twin suns blazing.
Cut 2.
A black screen and sudden silence. Over this, a caption appears. Do the caption.
Year 2552. A coalition of alien species, the Covenant, are waging a genocidal holy war against mankind.
The caption fades to be replaced by...
Mankind is losing.
Oh, we got Muffin in the
Ooh, I
chat.
like it.
Then fade up to...
Exterior, outer space.
Thank you. Where in outer space? A constellation of stars thickening into a belt of Milky Way. In the foreground is curve of a gas giant planet. And orbiting the planet, there is what appears to be a vast metal ring, the circumference of a small moon, rotating slowly. It's beautiful and peaceful, poised in space.
Sorry, thank you, Danielle,
Uh,
for the solidarity.
This is actually I was like, I did not realize until I started really reading this how just jazzed I am about the idea of a Halo movie, and it is the music that I'm hearing right now that is getting me so jazzed.
I feel like
about
I would feel it more if I could.
Just imagine
Okay.
that. Maybe I
You
should
can't
have
plug
you.
me in.
No, but maybe I mean you can go click on like if you had set up YouTube on your phone to listen to some Halo music, then maybe next time.
Part 2.
And orbiting the planet, there is what appears to be a vast metal ring, the circumference of a small moon, rotating slowly. A vast metal ring, the circumference of a small moon, huh?
Is it the titular halo?
It's the titular hollow. It's beautiful and peaceful, poised in space. Even from the distance, we can just make out a strange feature of a metallic band. It's called a metal band. Come on, don't you know music? The interior is a wraparound landscape made up of the same foliage greens, water blues, and dust yellows we know from views of our own planet. It is as if someone has cut a strip from Earth and lined the inside of this artificial world. And then title.
Halo.
Cool.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a cool way to explain a halo, because halo is just a big ring with the exterior on the interior.
I will say that the halo looks really cool from what I've seen.
Yeah, if you haven't seen
It's
the
a cool concept.
skybox in a Halo game, like look up on any level in a Halo game and see how cool the halo is. A moment later, the tranquility is broken by a flickering burst of light, a rip in space. Out of the fissure, a human-built battle cruiser appears.
Exterior, Pillar of Autumn.
Oh, it's the Pillar of Autumn.
Oh, it's the Pillar of Autumn.
Hulking gray mass of a great block of a spaceship, as solid as a concrete bomb shelter, designed purely for war. On the side, like me, on the side of the battle cruiser is its name, Pillar of Autumn. And on the underside of its snub nose, a portal behind which is the bridge, where a man stands gazing out, the commander of this vessel, Captain Keyes.
Interior, Pillar of Autumn / bridge.
Captain Keyes looks out at the planet and its ring moon. Behind him, the bridge crew are at their posts, manning the flight decks. A moment as Captain Keyes surveys this scene. Then, Captain Keyes.
Okay, am I both of
Yep.
these? Okay. Cortana.
That's a commitment. None of the bridge crew respond. Instead, he is replied by a female voice, the voice of the Pillar of Autumn's AI. Now, do you know what Cortana sounds like?
I mean, kinda, like,
She's just
computery, or...
She's actually pretty much just a normal lady.
Oh.
It's like, Chief, I talk like this. I'm Cortana. It's literally just
Okay.
a normal voice, but just use like a normal lady voice. That's it.
Okay, I'll use my voice. Yes, sir. Oh, 2 questions. Where the hell are we, and how did we lose them? We made a blind jump, sir. I'm scanning the constellations now to get a fix on our position. As for whether we lost them... Don't bother. I can see the answer for myself.
Through the bridge portal, we can see multiple slip space fissures, similar to the one from which the Pillar of Autumn appeared. And through each fissure, Covenant capital ships are appearing. The face of Captain Keyes is stone, unreadable. Unreadable.
What?
Your face is stone, unreadable.
Sir, at least we've drawn them away from Earth. How long till they're all over us? 90 seconds. Then the time is on our side. Then time is on our side. Combat alert. Oh my god. Combat alert
Cut.
Alpha.
Let's take it from the top,
Copy, sir.
Captain.
Copy, sir. I'm already on it. Interior, Pillar of Autumn / lower deck.
An alert sounds throughout the ship.
All hands to combat post. All hands to combat post. Prepare to propel boarders.
Please continue that while I'm reading this next part. On the lower deck, no, I'm that last bit. On the lower deck, engineers and medics scramble to position. Marines grab hardware from weapon racks, pulling on helmets and flak jackets. By the way, since I'm reading most of this, I'll leave you in charge of the chat.
Okay.
In the middle of the commotion, one group of soldiers stands as a
Thanks,
contrast to the adrenaline and commotion, an oasis of calm. This is Major Silva and his men, the Hell Jumpers, the Special Forces unit stationed on the Pillar of Autumn. Major Silva, noted for... You should watch Forward Unto Dawn, and you might see a family member.
What? What was that?
Forward Unto Dawn has, I think, his daughter or something. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Played by the eldest sister in the Chronicles of Narnia movies.
What do you mean, go ahead?
Oh, wait, no, it's me still. But closing in on Major Silva, his calm exterior seems suddenly misleading. There's something burning behind his eyes, something not quite sane. He's a man on the edge.
Hell Jumpers. You heard it. There's a shitstorm coming.
Okay, and we have to do this at the same time. Sir, yes, sir! Oh, let's not. Oh, that ruined the levels. Let's not actually yell, please. Major Silver regards them a couple of beats, then smiles.
Oh, it's a different guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were doing this in a different voice.
Oh no. Let's spill blood. Exterior, Pillar of Autumn.
From the Pillar of Autumn fighter craft spill from the flight bays to intercept the incoming Covenant craft.
Interior, Pillar of Autumn / bridge.
Captain Keyes looks out as the stream of tiny fighter craft, dwarfed in both size and number by the approaching enemy vessels. The first of them are already being engaged by Covenant fighters. The battle has begun, but Captain Keyes is looking beyond it to Halo.
Cortana, what is that structure ahead? Unknown, artificial. A space station? Negative. Covenant? Negative, based on current database of Covenant structures.
I know what the Halo is.
And there's something strange. It's nitrogen and oxygen rich, life supporting. And it was obviously built by someone. But no sentient life forms appear on scan.
Keyes nods.
Oxygen rich is all I need to know. Get us close. I want to be within lifeboat range. On approach vector now. And Cortana, sir, it's time we woke our war dog. Cut to Master Chief's dream.
We are back under the blood-red twin suns. This is close quarters combat with the Covenant, and Master Chief seems to be alone in this fight, the last of the Spartans. He fires into the faces and chests of the Covenant troops at near point-blank range. He is completely surrounded by the aliens. Beneath his feet is what appears a tangled carpet of bodies. Then the image starts to bleach, to white out.
Interior, Pillar of Autumn / cryo storage chamber.
From the whiteout, an image resolves. Gotta move my phone here. It is as seen from Master Chief's POV, from the inside of a cryo storage chamber, looking out. First-person shooter! And looking in, the somewhat fearful faces of 2 cryo engineers.
Interior, Pillar of Autumn / cryo storage hold. Holy Christ! Would you look at the size of it?
Keep, you're really peeking.
There's a man in there.
Perfect. The support engineer is checking the life systems monitor.
Low-level systems reading positive. Higher systems coming online.
Mm-hmm.
Blood is hot.
I hope this is a main
He's
character.
good to go.
I really hope you're just stuck with that voice. The door to the storage chamber cracks its seal, then rises open. The 2 men wait for a huge Spartan to show a sign of life.
What do we call him?
Sir?
Sir, are you awake?
Master Chief stirs. I like to think of him with like a mixing bowl.
Yeah.
A beat.
He beats.
He's beating it now. Then suddenly the Spartan lunges forwards reflexively, snapped into consciousness. Equally reflexively, the 2 engineers jump back. Master Chief reaches out to place a hand either side of the cryo chamber, then steps out. A moment as he surveys his surroundings, looking to the left, then the right, then down at the 2 men. It's funny when you get out of the chamber in Halo, they have you look left and right, up and down to know if you want to invert it or not. He towers over them, and they seem to shrink under the blank gaze of his visor as he speaks his first words. What are my orders?
Is that a good impression?
I don't know.
Kind of sounds like it.
Cortana.
Maybe.
Cortana, what are my orders? He's pretty early 2000s like macho guy that they've toned down a bit in later years. Cortana. I'm going with that.
Okay. Interior, Pillar of Autumn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, me. Master Chief is moving fast through the Pillar of Autumn. As he runs, the entire ship is vibrating and shaking from the Covenant attack. Ahead, an explosion rips through heavy blast doors, tearing them open. On the other side of the blast doors, a furnace-like fire is raging.
Imminent breach in Sectors 7 and 12. All available combat and medical units move to secure.
We are getting praise for our spot-on voices. Master Chief ducks through an access tunnel, emerging back into a root corridor,
Interior, Pillar of Autumn / root corridor.
where a handful of Marines are crouched behind a makeshift barricade in an intense firefight.
breach in sectors 8, 9, and 12.
On the other side of the barricade, at the far end of the route corridor, we get our first glimpses of the alien Covenant race. That's not true. We had the flashback at the beginning.
Yeah.
Where they're described thoroughly. But through the smoke and plasma fire, a glimpse is all it is. Shadow figures of various sizes advancing. Several of the Marines are already down. One is wounded, screaming, sliding himself backwards along the floor, leaving a thick wet smear of red. 2 others lie dead. From the weight of incoming plasma, it is clear the Marines' position is going to be overwhelmed. A sergeant blocks Master Chief's way.
Sir, we need your assistance here.
You know, I'm gonna need like a really what's the drill sergeant kind of sergeant here.
Sir, we need your assistance here.
Okay, but keep those levels down.
Sir, we need your assistance here.
Okay, but put your head back further into your. There we go. Don't break the
Sir, we need your.
Master Chief turns, assessing the situation. Then he takes the sergeant's assault rifle and 2 grenades from the sergeant's belt clip and steps up to the barricade. Beneath him, a Marine corporal crouches, holding an M6D pistol in his hand. The corporal's name tag reads Jenkins. Jenkins looks up at Master Chief, who stands almost motionless, back to the barricade, assault rifle lowered, as if he is listening. Then the Spartan moves out from cover. Fast, fluid. He tosses both grenades. As they bounce down the hall, I don't even know where he got Hall from. As they bounce down to the far end of the corridor, he raises the assault rifle. 4 bursts empty the clip. He's firing only at shadows, targets we can hardly see. As soon as the clip empties, almost as if timed, there is the double detonation of the 2 grenades. Smoke and silence. Then from the smoke, a grunt appears. The foot soldier of the Covenant army. Normally stocky, broad, powerful, but this one is dazed and badly wounded. Blue blood is splashing from his torso. Master Chief reaches down and takes the corporal's M6D pistol. He glances at the handgun and sees that the corporal has customized it. Carved into the metal are the words, "Nothing personal."
Oh.
Master
Edgy.
Master Chief's fist closes around the grip. Then he raises the pistol and uses it to put a single round through the head of the wounded grunt. John Wick.
Dang.
As the grunt drops, Master Chief offers the pistol back, but the corporal shakes his head.
Keep it.
Master Chief nods, confused by why no one has a normal fucking voice on this ship. From this point on, the M6D is always Master Chief's handgun. Then the Spartan turns to the sergeant and tosses the assault rifle to him. More will come. Take your wounded and fall back to a new position. Now.
Interior, Pillar of Autumn / bridge.
Commotion on the bridge as the flight deck crew desperately try to keep abreast of the collapsing ship systems.
Primary thrust engines offline. Massive pressure loss on 4 portside docks, 6 through 9. Decks, not docks.
Thanks for the correction.
No
there,
problem.
Flight deck crewman.
Anytime.
Only Captain Keyes and the voice of Cortana register a tone of objective calm.
They're using our lifeboat airlocks to attach their boarding craft. Shoot, what was he?
Blocking our way out as they make their way in. Smart bastards. Sir, we've got lost main cannon!
At this moment, Master Chief enters. The Spartan is so tall that he has to duck to pass through the bridge entrance. He should be 7'2". Oh. Master Chief approaches Captain Keyes and salutes.
Oh, we got a couple people going. Thanks for tuning in and listening to our ridiculousness. Have good sleeps.
It's your line. Or wait, no. Where are we? Oh no, it's me.
Yeah, it's you.
Reporting is ordered, sir.
Good to see you, Master Chief. Let me get you up to speed. We're in the shit.
Master Chief simply nods.
So
See,
here's
that's
what's
why I
gonna-
wanted to do Master Chief's voice, because that's most of his lines.
So here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get Cortana off the ship and keep her safe from the enemy.
Sir?
The Pillar of Autumn is going down, and you're not going down with it.
But you are?
I'm going to keep the skeleton crew and land on the object we found, but destruction or capture of the shipboard AI is not an option.
Sir, as a tactical point, your best bet to land the ship is me.
As a tactical point, Cortana, if the Covenant capture you, they'll learn everything. Force deployment, system schematics, weapons research, not to mention the location of planet Earth. Now you're gonna make me invoke an override command, or just do as you're told.
That is correct. The growl in Master Chief. Luckily, he is a man of few words, so it won't screw me up too much. But it's gonna screw me up a lot. That's interesting. That seems like Cortana's kind of the MacGuffin of this, which is pretty accurate to the games. Cortana's answer is preempted by a detonation that rocks the bridge. Wherever the explosion was, it feels close.
Preparing for a hard transfer, sir. Interior, Pillar of Autumn, lower deck.
Major Silva and the Helljumpers are locked in their own savage firefight, hunched behind cover, keeping up a steady barrage of suppression fire. The way they fight is qualitatively different from the Marines. There is no sense of panic in the combat, no screaming as they take a hit, no scrabbling for a reload. Yeah, because those Marines are such wimps.
All units, this is your captain speaking. I'm giving the order to abandon ship. Repeat, abandon ship.
I don't remember. Goddamn.
You really gotta keep those levels down.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Take lifeboats and drop ships, any means of escape available. Regroup on the ring. We're taking the fight planet side.
We're taking the planet side. Major Silva stands, apparently oblivious to the plasma fire that now flies around him, and yells at his special forces troops.
You heard the man. Solid ground. Just how we like it.
Sir, yes, sir!
Interior, Pillar of Autumn, bridge.
Master Chief stands with Captain Keyes, who uses his fingerprint to unlock and open a section of the central bridge console. Inside is a rectangular object, slim as a CD case, the size of a credit card.
What is this?
Almost translucent, it glows softly. Delicate light strands flicker, like blood moving through capillaries. I almost said caterpillars. The microcircuitry itself seems to shift like an X-ray of bones behind the skin.
Look after her.
Master Chief takes the Cortana chip and inserts it into the dock in his Mjolnir armor, positioned in the back of his neck, the brainstem. Puts it in his brainstem. As the chip connects, his entire suit pulses with a single crackle of energy, as if recharging following a hit. His shields are up. Yes, sir.
Interior, Pillar of Autumn, route to lifeboats.
Master Chief moves again through the Pillar of Autumn. He is armed now with an MA-5B assault rifle, making his way down the corridor. Now I said corridor, but it wasn't corridor.
No, there's a corridor in the next.
Down a narrow service tunnel. Dimly lit, not lined with cabling. Ahead is a main hallway to the lifeboats. A bright frame at the end of the dark tunnel, into which steps a Covenant soldier. It's an elite, tall, armored, athletic, in a sense, the alien equivalent of the Spartan. Master Chief freezes. Perhaps the elite will move on again in a moment, but it doesn't. Master Chief takes a cautious step, then another. It is surprising that the apparently heavy plated armor can allow for stealth, but either through his strength or the armor's design, Master Chief moves forward silently.
Ooh.
The elite still doesn't move on, but neither does it hear him coming. Now, just inside the doorframe between the service tunnel and the main corridor, strike, a classic game move. Master Chief strikes with the butt of his assault rifle, taking out the elite's shields. And as the elite staggers back, Master Chief empties half of a clip into the alien's torso. 30 rounds fly through the gun in seconds. As the elite drops, in a continuous movement, Master Chief steps out into the main corridor, switching to his M6D handgun to confront 4 Covenant grunts. Master Chief fires 4 times in rapid succession. Each shot finds its target. One of the Covenant foot soldiers manages to get off a round, but only from squeezing his trigger as an involuntary death reflex as he falls. Back on the assault rifle, Master Chief turns to check his 6, and the corridor is clear. Immediately, Master Chief reloads.
Good work, Master Chief. I can tell I'm in. I can tell I'm in.
At the sound of Cortana's voice, Master Chief's head cocks to the side, puzzled.
Safe hands.
Master Chief taps the side of his head as if checking his hearing.
What are you doing?
Are you talking to me?
Who else would I be talking to?
What? How do this work? Sounds like you're in my head.
Your suit is hardwired into your neural network, and I'm hardwired into your suit. I am in your head. Feels kind of empty in here.
Oh, shit. Master Chief. Thank you for keeping those levels down. Master Chief says nothing, simply sets off again.
Cut to interior Pillar of Autumn corridor outside lifeboats.
Locked off reverse angle of it on a Covenant position. An elite 3 jackals and 4 grunts with their backs to us as they fire down the smoke and fire-filled corridor ahead, and suddenly a hail of rounds are coming our way, ripping through the Covenant, dropping and shredding them. One last surviving grunt, screaming, turns to run towards us, and is shot in the back, falls. As Master Chief comes through the haze towards us, we realize we have just seen what it is like to be on the receiving end of a Spartan attack. Over his left shoulder, the Spartan is carrying a wounded Marine. In his right hand, his assault rifle smokes. 3 more Marines follow behind.
There's only one lifeboat left.
We're on it.
Interior lifeboat.
Master Chief slides a wounded Marine off his shoulder as another Marine, a female lieutenant, slips into the lifeboat cockpit. Punch it.
Yes, sir.
Oh. She hits the launch button. The door to the lifeboat snaps seals shut, fast as the blink of an eye, with a power that would cut you in two if you're halfway through the hatch. We know how the doors work in spaceships in every movie ever. And a beat later, an explosive burst of acceleration rocks everyone as the lifeboat is jettisoned from the Pillar of Autumn.
We're out of here.
Exterior Pillar of Autumn.
That's mine. I do the exterior.
Go for it.
Exterior Pillar of Autumn.
It's funny because you've been giving people like different accents and stuff, which wouldn't necessarily make sense if you were to assume these are normal Marines and therefore all Americans generally. But this is UNSC, which is the United Nations. That's what the UN and UNSC stands for.
So I'm right.
You are, but just accidentally, and you don't get points for it. External, and I am keeping track of points. External view as the tiny escape vessel powers away from its listing mothership through the swarm of Covenant ships, arcing down to the ring world below.
Interior lifeboat.
Getting slower on those, I'm gonna have to take over. From their seat harness, the Marines gaze in wonder over the shoulder of the female lieutenant as she pilots the craft down towards Halo.
Holy shit. What is that thing, Lieutenant?
I feel like those.
Never saw anything like it.
Master Chief is showing no interest, because he's a cool guy. Instead, he is kneeling over the wounded Marine, who is bleeding from the mouth, and has a mess of burned clothing and torn flesh around his stomach.
I don't want to die. Oh god, oh please.
Die quieter. The Master Chief takes the wounded Marine's medkit. Pushing a compress over the soldier's appalling stomach wound, he jabs him in the neck with a hypo. You still in pain, soldier?
No, sir.
Oh, the music just got
No
perfect
pain.
for this.
Oh, this is the female. Heads up, everyone. This is it. We're hitting the atmosphere in 5. Exterior lifeboat.
We follow the lifeboat as it enters Halo's interior curve. With us and around us, we can see other lifeboats from the Pillar of Autumn, following the same downward path, like a miniature meteor shower. As we get closer to the landscape, we discover, jutting out of the rolling hills and countryside, strange constructs, metallic, alien-designed, ancient. At first, like lost and abandoned temple structures, then seeming more like machinery or parts of machinery, iceberg-like, implying a colossal superstructure hidden beneath the ground level. But aside from the evidence of design in the lush planet life, there is no sign of life. Besides all of the life, there's no life. Nothing sentient, no movement or sign of activity. The world seems dead or frozen in stasis. Cryostasis. And above all, peaceful. And during this sequence, we have been almost lulled, hypnotized by the unfolding landscape, which provides a stark and violent contrast as we...
Cut back to interior lifeboat.
The tiny vessel is shaking as if it's going to rip apart. Sentence almost ripped apart. Over the roar of noise, the female Marine is yelling...
That's a female lieutenant, not the female Marine.
Air brake failure! Air brake failure! They blew too early!
She...
Oh, that's you. Yeah, I know what you're going to say, Cortana.
Chief?
We'll be fine.
Fine? We're not even strapped in.
Master Chief stands within the bucking vessel, then reaches out both arms and locks his fist around a handhold each side of the craft. Oh, he's like out, like
We're losing
Spider-Man
her.
style.
Brace for impact! Brace!
Brah.
Sorry.
She's cut off. It's so loud in my ears. She's cut off as the impact comes. No exterior shot. We stay inside the vessel throughout the duration of the crash landing on Halo's surface, and it is savage. First, the initial strike. So far, this is identical to the game, pretty much. Then the glass, which makes sense because it's Bungie and Microsoft coming up with the story. Then the glass of the cockpit portal explodes inwards, firing lacerating shrapnel into the female Marine. Oh no, her accent. Then the craft skews violently sideways and begins to tumble. Then it is rolling. Anything loose is flying around the cabin. There is the sense of one final and devastating impact. And then...
Snap to a black screen.
And...
Fade up to interior lifeboat.
The lifeboat lies on its side. Blood and smashed bodies tell us that none of the Marines survived the crash. Master Chief himself lies motionless.
Chief?
His armor flickers, a recharge.
Chief, can you hear me?
Master Chief stirs. I hear you.
At last. Can you move? The others, they didn't make it. Exterior, Halo, Valley, lifeboat, day.
The rear hatch of the lifeboat kicks open and Master Chief steps out. There is meadow grass beneath his feet. He is in a valley whose steep sides rise to sheer cathedral-like rock faces. A river runs along the valley floor, then cuts into the bedrock, creating a deep waterfall at the far end.
Oh. Look.
Master Chief looks skywards and sees an extraordinary sight. Not just the unnatural way in which either side of their position, the massive interior of Halo curves up in the gradual incline to rejoin the upper part of the ring, a vast distance above, but also the Pillar of Autumn. The battle cruiser is on its descent. So by the way, when you're on Halo, it literally looks like that Inception thing where the city is like curving around. It's really cool. Where was I? The battle cruiser is on its descent, trailing a colossal white plume of vapor. A sound like innumerable jet planes, distant yet overwhelming. Behind the Pillar of Autumn pursuing it, we can see the shadow shapes of the Covenant Armada, maintaining a constant barrage of fire at the stricken vessel.
She's going down.
From Master Chief's position, we track the Pillar of Autumn. This music is lining up fantastically. Until, many miles distant, further up the curve, seen through a blue atmosphere haze, she crash lands on Halo's surface. Because of the distance, the sound is delayed by a few seconds, so the impact takes place in silence. And a few seconds after the sound comes a second shockwave, this one physical, a ripple through the actual surface of the ring. That's cool. Master Chief and Cortana can see it coming before it hits them, shuddering out from the crash site, racing around the ring curvature, until with a roar of breaking rock and twisting metal it passes under them, then is gone. A beat.
I felt something.
It's called an earthquake.
No, something else.
Like what?
I don't know.
She breaks off. Then, urgent.
Warning, I'm detecting multiple Covenant dropships inbound. Exterior, Halo, Valley side, day.
Inbound, not exbound, it's exterior. From behind a rock cluster high up on the valley side, Master Chief watches a Covenant dropship lands by the crashed lifeboat. Sick, by the way, SIC. There's some spelling errors. The HUD within his helmet provides a zoom function to enlarge the image. The helmet is also equipped with directional audio, amplifying the sound of wherever they are pointed, meaning we can hear the sound of the Covenant talking in their alien language. We watch as several elites and grunts jump from the dropship and head over to the crashed lifeboat to investigate.
If we're lucky, the Covenant will believe that everyone died in the crash.
It would be useful to know what they're saying.
No problem. I can provide a translation directly into your neural web with only a 2.2 second delay.
A moment later, a heavily digitized translation of the alien language begins. Two elites, a blue and the higher-ranking black, discuss their find.
4 inside, all dead, none to interrogate.
Okay, I'll give you a hint on this one.
Okay.
Because elites talk like this. They're like big aliens, and we talk
Yeah,
like
but
this.
it's the digitized translation of what they're saying.
It doesn't matter. They still have their same voice for some reason.
Do they have to? This is our interpretation.
I'm just making it easier for the Halo fans listening to this. Here, also, do you know Keith David from Community and The Thing? And
What was he in Community?
he was the older computer guy that came in the last season.
Yeah.
He does the voice of an elite in the second game. But they talk like this.
Four inside, all dead, and none to interrogate.
I feel like you just took that note and jettisoned it.
I don't.
That was the next one.
I literally can't do that with my voice. I literally
I know,
can't.
I'm kidding.
You do it.
Nope.
Seek more.
That's the same voice for the Black Elite.
Like,
There we go. That was perfect. As they talk, the grunts are pulling the bodies of Marines out of the lifeboat. By the way, grunts are like weaselly little. I talk like this. I'm not even doing good ones. The Black Elite reaches down and lifts one of the dead Marines by the head with only one hand.
no.
All this flesh is sacrilege.
He lets the Marine fall.
Burn it.
Immediately, the grunts open fire on the corpses with fully charged plasma pistols. Master Chief reacts by raising his M6D pistol and lining up on the Black Elite through HUD zoom function.
Chief, no, the men are dead. Beyond saving. But there will be others who aren't.
Master Chief hesitates.
I've got a lifeboat beacon just 2 clicks from here. If there are survivors, they need our help right now.
Slowly, Master Chief lowers his gun. Growls. I'm already doing. Lead me in. Where's Harvey Dent? He turns and starts to move.
Exterior, Halo Valley Lifeboat Day.
The Covenant are heading back to the drop ship, but not the Black Elite. He still stands by the lifeboat and the charred remains of the Marines, surveying the surrounding valley, as if he can almost sense that one of his enemy has managed to get away.
Bye, Danielle.
Oh, thank you for watching.
Thank you for your
Check out the archive if anyone has to leave and wants to watch the rest.
Yes.
On the Patreon. He walks away from the dropship scanning, then pauses. At his feet by the riverbank, there is a single footprint in the wet earth. A guttural noise emerges from the back of his throat, rising into a barked order. The Covenant by the dropship freeze. In Covenant tongue, the Black Elite shouts a series of enraged commands. Can you give me the alien language of the Black Elite? I regret it. I take it back. Please stop. Moments later, from the dropship's central suspension field, 3 ghosts emerge. Now, what do you think they mean when they say 3 ghosts emerge from the suspension field of the dropship?
Ghosts are.
Don't read it.
No, I'm not. Ghosts are vehicles of some kind, right? Not like with wheels, but no, they're not like tiny ships.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
they're almost like hovercrafty jet ski type
Yeah.
one-man vehicles,
Ha,
or
I
woman,
knew.
or otherwise. 3 ghosts. Wait, where was that at?
Emerge lightweight scouting.
Lightweight scouting vehicles, each piloted by a single elite, armed with 2 plasma cannons, hovering, and they're purple, hovering a couple of meters off the ground. Yep, he is British. The 3 ghosts bank in the direction of the Black Elite's jabbed arm and accelerate away. They're going after Chief.
Exterior Halo Summit Ridge Day.
Master Chief moves fast, now on the high ridge pass between the valley he just left and the next one along.
It's not far. By my calculation, we should be able to see them just over this next.
She breaks off.
Do you hear that?
Master Chief stops. Through the wind rush, a high electric whine. I hear it. He turns, just in time to see the first of the 3 ghosts rising over the crest behind him. If he doesn't hijack one of these ghosts, I'm going to be furious. The ghost opens fire a moment too late to hit its target. Master Chief is already rolling to the side, ending in a crouch, assault rifle raised, and firing. He finds his target. He empties a long burst into the oncoming ghost, and just as he hits the end of the clip, the ghost explodes. But Master Chief has barely a second in which to register this, because at the moment the first ghost explodes, the second ghost rams him full on. Ooh, good music cue there. It takes a second or two for Master Chief to work out what has happened. Like a pedestrian hit by a car, Master Chief is now riding the front of the ghost. Is that what happens when pedestrians... He's lost his assault rifle in the impact. Oh, I know where this is going. The elite pilot weaves the ghost from side to side in an attempt to shake Master Chief off.
Chief, behind you!
Master Chief looks over his shoulder. The ghost pilot can't see because his view is blocked by Master Chief. But Master Chief can see now they're heading towards a sheer drop-off. A sheer drop off one of the cathedral rock faces into the valley below. They are a second or two from launching into thin air. Master Chief lunges forward towards the pilot and grabs at the ghost controls, yanking them to the left. The ghost banks sideways just in time.
Exterior, Halo, cliff edge, day.
Now they're riding along the edge of the sheer drop, with Master Chief now hanging on the side of the cockpit, trading punches with the elite pilot. One last vicious punch from the Master Chief, and the elite's head snaps sideways with a crunch of breaking neck. But as the pilot falls sideways in the cockpit, he jams into the control stick. The ghost pulls its nose back and skews off to the right. Master Chief jumps clear as the ghost and pilot fly off the rock face into an 800-foot drop into oblivion. I want him to hijack
I'm
it.
sure it'll happen. Exterior, Halo, Summit Ridge, day.
Master Chief lands hard, flat on his back in the soft earth, visor reflecting the sky, a peaceful beat.
Chief?
I know. There's one more. He sits up, leaving an imprint of his figure in the ground. He landed so hard that the earth beneath him was compressed by 2 inches. Several meters away from him is the third and final ghost. It is strafing into position, about to attack. Master Chief stands, a beat on the 2 enemies facing each other. Then,
Cut to exterior, Halo, machinery construction, day.
a huge spire of metal pushes out from one of Halo's lightly forested slopes. Beneath it are lower complexes of machinery, tubes and shafts, a fraction of some massive engine, mostly buried beneath the gently undulating swells of meadow. And also beneath the metal spire is another lifeboat, with Marines fanned out around it, firing at a large number of advancing Covenant troops. We join the Marine group in the heat of the battle. They are fighting well, working in pairs, laying down covering fire as they regroup and switch positions. But from the sheer number of Covenant troops, it is clear that this battle is one-sided.
Medic! Watch the left flank. We've got more coming through the trees. Medic!
The wounded Marine is cut off by the round of a plasma rifle that burns out the side of his head.
Medic!
Okay.
Different.
Ammo! Running low on ammo here.
Okay, where is that person from? Can I get some backstory on this person?
Ammo.
He watched way too much Arnold Schwarzenegger
That's it.
as a
Okay.
kid, as he was learning to speak.
I
Okay.
didn't think it was as an adult. Go ahead.
Oh my. There's so many.
Just go through them. You don't have to come up with dumb
Get up
voices.
so I can kill you again. You're gonna outrun us. Where's the backup? No, we have no backup. We're screwed, man. We're screwed.
The panicking Marine breaks off as a blur of movement flies over their heads. A ghost, piloted by the Master Chief.
I told you.
Accelerating directly at the Covenant troops, twin plasma cannons blazing.
Whoa. What the hell is that?
Cobbleroy.
That's true that they had cast, what's his name, Hans Gruber for this one.
Exterior, Halo, machinery construction, day.
The aftermath of the battle. Covenant dead lie scattered in sprays of blue blood. The medic patches up wounded Marines. 4 dead Marines lie in a row, uncovered, gazing sightlessly at the sky. Master Chief talks to the sergeant.
We need to regroup with the other survivors. They must be scattered all over this ring.
I think this might be a recurring character.
Oh, no,
that you've
can't
given
change it.
it
No.
to. You did it. Agreed. And that's your voice, as you've established. Have you made contact with them?
You know what I feel? I feel like the Taskmaster, where the guy has to speak
Change
in different accents every
Guess
2
what
minutes.
we've been watching on YouTube recently? Watch Taskmaster. It's a fun show.
Yes, sir. A Pelican dropship pilot, name of Carol Wale. Call sign.
Repeat that, Sergeant. What's that name again, Sergeant?
Carol Wale.
Alright.
Carol Wale.
Okay. Fohammer, she's alive?
Alive and inbound, sir.
Who's Fohammer?
A fine soldier. We go back.
So I see. Your neural web just lit up like a Christmas tree.
Oh, what do you mean by that? Sergeant looks confused.
Oh.
Oh, is he just talking to himself?
Sir, who are you talking to?
He can't hear me.
Oh, right. No one.
No one?
I'm not saying you're no one.
I didn't think you were, sir.
No, not you. No, forget it. Womp womp. Master Chief walks away from the still somewhat perplexed sergeant. He finds a place to sit at the foot of the metal spire after a short silence.
Is this a quiet time?
It was.
Sorry. I get that it must be strange,
It's a hell of a
having me
beat.
with you like this. It's intimate. If it's any consolation, it's pretty strange for me, too. Sharing a consciousness. I suppose you want to know if I can tell what you're thinking.
Can you?
Kind of. I get flashes, impulses. It's hard to describe.
So what am I thinking now?
You're thinking what I'm thinking. What happened to Captain Keyes? Exterior Halo Pillar of Autumn Day.
The Pillar of Autumn crash site. The great battle cruiser was never designed for a gravity environment. It lies now at a slight angle in a crater of its own making. Behind it is a huge scar gouged into the Halo landscape. Beneath the torn earth and powdered rock, we can see the metal interior of the ring. In places, a tunnel system is exposed, chambers open to the daylight, and all around the crash site, the Covenant are swarming. Listening to their language, the words themselves may be meaningless to us, but through their gestures and tone, the meaning behind the words somehow come through. The aliens are excited and triumphant at the destruction of the enemy vessel, but noticeably agitated and afraid of the tunnels, passages, and chambers the crash has revealed.
Interior Pillar of Autumn Bridge.
Captain Keyes stands in the destroyed bridge, and he says, He's bleeding from the head, but upright and focused. Most of the flight crew are dead, but there are some survivors. They are arming themselves and barricading the entrance to the bridge. Captain Keyes talks to the comms unit.
Major Silva, do you have an E ETA?
Sir, we can see you from our position. The Covenant are all over you. Must be 1,000 troops.
Understood. In the event of radio silence at my end, assume the transfer of command to you, Major.
A beat.
Sir,
Negative on futile rescue attempts. Am I clear?
Crystal, sir.
Then that's over. And out.
Captain Keyes hangs up the comms unit, and at that moment, the barricade to the bridge is blown apart by a cluster of plasma grenades.
They're here!
Interior Pillar of Autumn Bridge.
We are with the Covenant forces as they swarm over the destroyed barricade and pour into the bridge. We stay the entire time with a jackal, the slender, hunched bird-like Covenant. The jackal advances with its comrades like a Roman centurion, firing from and crouching behind the distorting window of an energy shield. We follow the jackal as the remaining survivors of the flight deck crew are cut down, slaughtered under the storm of fire, until only Captain Keyes is left. We watch as Captain Keyes backs away, emptying the clip of his M6D jamming in another, but his position is entirely hopeless. Down to its last bullet, backed into a corner. He suddenly jams his pistol to the side of his head, to kill himself rather than be taken. A beat. Then
Damn it.
he swings the pistol back and fires his last round, right through the head of the jackal we've been following. A moment later, Commander Keyes is swarmed.
Whew. Goodbye, Keyes.
Or is it?
Interior Fohammer's Pelican Dropship Day.
Master Chief and the Marines climb on board the Pelican-class dropship, and it lifts off the metal spire. There are many more Marines jammed into the Pelican from other lifeboats. Many are wounded or smoke blackened from battle. Some sit in silence. Some search through the faces for men from their platoon. Master Chief makes his way through them, down the vessel to the cockpit, where Foehammer is at the controls. At first-rate dropship pilot. She has one tone of voice for all situations. Thank God. Oh, a drawl. Calm and even.
There we go.
Whether taking heavy ground fire or sharing a beer. Thanks for the ride, Foehammer.
Always a pleasure, Master Chief. Glad you made it off the Autumn.
You've been busy, indicating the hold full of Marines.
We're spread pretty thin over the terrain, but I'm gathering them up. Major Silva and his Hell Jumpers have set up a base camp 30 clicks from here, so I've been shuttling back and forth.
What are our numbers?
Better than you'd expect. We got a fighting force. Force.
A fighting force is all we need. Oh boy, I'm losing it.
He needs to
Drink
some water.
Is all I need.
Exterior Halo Base Camp Day. Shall I do this?
Go for it. But let's keep it fast. We might have to do this in like 4 parts.
Okay. I'm sorry,
Let's
but it was
get
a draw.
Let's get to page 40, and we'll do it this will be a 3-part stream.
The Hell Jumpers and Marines have been working fast constructing a workable base camp. There are at least 200 men and women here, both soldiers and engineers. From what they took from them in their evacuation of Pillar of Autumn, they have managed to put together a landing zone from which Foehammer is already lifting off again, even as another Pelican comes in to land. An ammo dump where Marines queue to stock up their supplies. As they see Master Chief, the Marines freeze and stare. They've all heard rumors about the Spartans, but few have ever seen one. One of them, we notice, is Corporal Jenkins, the soldier who gave Master Chief his M6D pistol at the barricade. What was Jenkins?
How's that M6D working for you, sir?
Master Chief simply nods as he passes. Once Master Chief is out of earshot.
Holy shit, Jenkins. You know that guy? We go back.
No, I'm gonna veto here. Executive decision. No on a Jenkins.
Okay.
We move on, thank God, to a makeshift med center, already struggling with the volume of wounded and dying. Through the open tent flap, we can see several emergency operations ongoing. A comms tent, where several transcom operators attempt to coordinate the rescue of the various lifeboats and escaped vessels dotted around Halo. In a command center, where the Major Silva and Hell Jumpers are located themselves. Have located the Major. It's so confusing. And it is also where Master Chief is headed.
Exterior Halo Base Camp Command Center Day.
2 Hell Jumpers guard the entrance to the command center. As Master Chief approaches, they block his way forwards.
Stand down, men. Let him through.
2 guards step aside and Master Chief walks through. Major Silva is standing with some of his senior officers who regard Master Chief with a barely disguised hostility.
So, the Spartan. I understand you're carrying Cortana.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, we don't have any hardware sufficient for you to dock her, so you'll be babysitting a while longer.
Babysitting?
Think you can handle that?
No problem, sir. So Major
Fine.
Silver nods.
Oh, I just did it.
Fine. Then I recommend you find a nice little spot to sit tight, rest up, and wait until we can relieve you of your duties.
A beat. You want me to stay out of combat, sir?
That is correct.
I'm losing it.
I want you to stay as far out as you can. Get.
Major Silva turns back to the officers.
Dismiss, Spartan.
Master Chief doesn't move. Major Silva looks back at him, face clouding.
You still here?
Sir, I was just reading my normal voice. He let his guard down for a bit. I mean, I'm cool. Sir, request information on the whereabouts of...
Keys? MIA. Everything else is need to know. And before you ask, you don't need to know shit.
Bullshit.
What? Okay. Exterior Halo Base Camp Dusk. Ooh, dusk.
Light is fading as Master Chief walks back across the camp.
What a meathead.
You got him. Loser. He wants me out of combat to keep you safe. Master Chief stops walking. For a moment, he seems to rock slightly on his heels as if dazed. It's a sound decision. something seems strange about him, but Cortana doesn't seem to have noticed.
I've met plenty like him. The truth is, he enjoys war. Enjoys war.
Oh, sorry.
What do you do?
Sorry. I was trying to just go and start from the beginning with that nonsense.
If he isn't putting down rounds, he isn't living.
Now she breaks off because Master Chief is rocked again. For a moment, he looks like he's about to topple to the ground, heavy as a forest giant. Now I know how heavy he is.
What the? Chief, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just running a little low on blood.
What? Okay, also, is the whole time, like, does he have the, like, helmet on?
Oh, yeah, no, you don't see Chief's
You don't-
face.
Okay.
He's Master Chief.
Exterior Halo Base Camp Dusk.
Master Chief has found a quiet place to sit and drink his blood. Behind the med center, away from the bustle of the base camp. In front of him is an open med kit. We watch as Master Chief removes the breastplate of his armor. I need him to just, like, eat some cookies, though. Beneath,
Just like one tiny little thing opens up.
there's a little cookie slot.
Yeah.
Beneath is a black bodysuit made of flexible material, and on this bodysuit we can see various lacerations around his torso. Through these lacerations, Master Chief's torso is partially revealed, and we catch our first glimpse of Master Chief's actual flesh.
Ooh, glimpse of flesh.
His skin is colored in abnormal sunless snow white, but it's hard to tell. He's Vader under there, but it's hard to tell much more than that, given that each wound is thickly smeared with blood. Some of the blood is congealed, almost black, like a cooled lava flow. Some is bright red and wet, welling from multiple injuries.
I didn't realize your armor is intact.
The armor repairs itself. It's the stuff beneath it that doesn't. He reaches for the med kit. Unless you help it along. We watch. I've really lost the Master Chief voice at this point. We watched as he begins to tend to himself. He uses sterile wipes to clean away his blood, pulls metal fragments from the wounds. The most serious wound is on his side. A long slash, perhaps caused by the impact of the ghost. It is from here that the blood is flowing most freely.
Chief, you're badly hurt. Just get one of the medics.
They've got enough to deal with. He pushes with one gloved hand against the side wound. Cracked rib, maybe two. Doesn't feel like there's anything in there. Just need two. He reaches again for the medkit. Patch it up. He pulls out what looks like a staple gun, and in a sense, it is. He puts it over the wound, squeezes the grip several times in rapid succession, and each time he squeezes, a metal staple fires into his flesh, then retracts, clamping the two sides of the wound together. When he is finished, he has a row of staples like sutured stitches. He exhales hard and puts the staple gun down. The whole process looks amazingly painful. Huh.
What?
Forgot the morphine. What a badass.
Oh my god. Okay, but this is kind of not gelling for me. How Cortana is supposed to be like in his head, and she is missing stuff. It seems like she's a little spacey, which is dumb because she's an AI. She's supposed to be the
She's from
smartest
space.
of all of them.
She sees brain activity. It's not. It's. He's hardwired to his suit. Like his brain is hardwired to his suit, not necessarily his body. I don't know. I don't really. It's
Fade
fine.
2.
The same scene. Master Chief has replaced his breastplate and is now attaching a blood drip. Feeds into a purpose-made access point in his Mjolnir armor, positioned on the underside of his forearm. There we go.
Simple as that, is it? Fill yourself back up and you'll be ready to go. Just like replacing the fuel cell in a Warthog.
Just like. With the blood drip now in place, Master Chief lies down, helmet resting against a rock, chin against his chest.
You humans are unbelievable. You spend half your time thinking about how to make computers think like humans, and the other half trying to make humans act like machines. Sometimes I truly wonder what...
Cortana,
Yes?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How do I turn you off? Should we stop with his...
This is so, like, early 2000s macho. Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Let's end on Master Chief's dream.
Okay, Fade 2, Master Chief's dream.
A burning city, then 2 red suns, then Master Chief. He is standing alone, surrounded by corpses, both Spartan and Covenant. The Corpses fan around him in an outward pattern, like a forest whose trees have been felled by a central cataclysm. A beat. Then Master Chief lifts his hands and removes his helmet.
What?
As implied when we saw him tending his wounds, his skin is bleached white, his hair is shaved to the scalp. He gazes at the tableau of death and devastation as he wants to see this scene unfiltered. Then, on Master Chief's face, a slight confusion, an awareness of another presence. He turns, and behind him is a girl. I'm kind of slipping into Master Chief voice here. She could be in her 20s, but there's something very strange about her skin, stranger even than the skin of Master Chief. It glows softly with a purplish blue light, and both her skin and clothes have the same translucent quality as the Cortana chip, flickering light strands like miniature blood vessels, shifting microcircuitry. Who are you?
You don't recognize me?
A beat.
And by the way, you can't turn me off.
Cortana, what are you doing here?
I'm in your head. If you dream, I dream.
Master Chief turns away, back to the bodies.
What is this place?
Good ominous music for this. You mean, what was this place? The largest interplanetary human colony. 164,000 died here. Men, women, children.
Planet Reach.
Whoa. Planet Reach. The fall of Reach. Silence. We were supposed to defend it.
Who?
The Spartans. But we failed. He looks down at a dead Spartan at his feet, visor smashed, armor half blown away.
How did you survive?
Faux hammer. It was just me, a pile of bodies in a Covenant armada, but she came back for me, said she didn't leave soldiers. In the background distant, there is the sound of a scream. Behind. Master Chief breaks off listening. Silence. Then the scream comes again. Deep, guttural, desperate, and not human, but not quite animal either. The scream grows louder and louder.
Cut to... Are we stopping?
We're gonna stop it there. We are 1/3 done with this.
Oh, this is getting intense. Is this
So it was a reach all along.
But you said that that he never takes off his helmet.
Yeah.
So he does in the film.
Apparently.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, or at least what I've seen. I haven't played 5. I haven't played 1 forever. I don't remember him taking off his helmet. Yeah, it's cool that it's Reach.
Cool.
There's a whole game called Halo Reach.
Yeah,
it's about the events of this.
Is Faux Hammer a character?
I believe so.
I like her. She's cool.
Yeah.
Especially her drawl.
Yeah. This is very accurate to the game. But also it's funny because this tells you everything you need to know about fandoms. When I was looking up reactions to this script, it was like people saying, it's just the first game. And then the only other reactions I was seeing were, it changes too much.
Oh, that's
so it's the two extremes that people are
that's the
bothered
thing.
by.
It's always gonna be like that.
But I feel like that's a good place to leave it off. We got to see Master Chief's face. We got to see that Cortana's a blue lady.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see that it was Reach that we were getting back to. And he off-screen hijacked a ghost.
Off-screen.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll hijack a Banshee. Who knows? But yeah, that's what we got. That's what we're doing. I'm going to pause the music. I'm going to bring back the theme song. That good stuff. And thank you for joining us. This was super fun.
Yeah,
We
it
super
was.
enjoyed it. We're going to finish the rest of it because we have to. And then we're going to do a whole video about this movie. Sort of fun side video in addition to the main video. So you look forward to that. I look forward to that.
gonna be
Haley O.
good.
Roselion looks forward to that. Halo Roselion looks
Oh,
forward
no.
to that. And go make stuff.
Go make stuff. Just go do it. You know you've been putting off making that thing. Go do it. It'll make you feel so much better. That's my spiel.